You sit down to work. There's one task you know actually matters, and instead you do everything else. Emails, messages, small things that feel productive. But that one task, you don't touch it. And by the end of the day, you're exhausted, but nothing important moved. You think it's procrastination. It's not. So you have a vision for your life. You're ambitious, you're capable, and you know you're meant for something more. So why do you keep ending your days feeling frustrated, wondering where all those hours went whilst you were glued to your phone? It's a nasty cycle, isn't it? You feel the weight of your own potential, but the mountain of work ahead seems so huge that you do nothing at all. And that just makes the mountain bigger. You promise yourself tomorrow will be different, but it really is. If you're a high performer who feels like you're secretly drowning and procrastination has become your go-to move, you're not lazy, you're just stuck in a specific psychological trap. And if you're someone who feels like you're constantly busy but nothing meaningful is moving, this is going to land. In fact, your ambition is part of the reason you're stuck. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly why this happens to the most driven people and give you a simple framework to turn that stalling energy into calm, sustainable productivity. First things first, we need to completely reframe what procrastination is. It's not a character flaw or a sign of laziness. For high achievers, procrastination is an emotional regulation problem. It's actually a signal. It's your system telling you something is overloaded. Think of it like the smoke alarm in your house. The alarm isn't the fire. It's a distress signal warning you that there's a fire somewhere. Procrastination is just the alarm telling you that part of your system is overloaded. The first is perfectionist paralysis. High achievers don't just want to get things done. We want them to be exceptional. You hold yourself to an impossibly high standard, and the gap between where you are now and that perfect final product feels like a canyon. So starting feels heavy, not because you're incapable, but because you care about getting it right. Doing nothing feels safer than creating something that might not be perfect. Second, there's decision fatigue and cognitive overload. Your brain's ability to make good choices is like a smartphone battery. You start the day at 100, but every decision, from big work projects to what to eat for lunch, drains a bit of power. So by midday, your cognitive battery is already flashing red, and that one important task that requires clarity, thinking, and focus, exactly what your system is running low on. Your brain defaults to the path of least resistance, avoidance. The third reason is something I call the dopamine illusion of planning. Your brain gets a hit of dopamine, not just from finishing a goal, but from planning to finish it. Brainstorming, making detailed to-do lists, and researching for hours all give you a feeling of progress without any actual progress. You feel like you've moved, but nothing is really moved. Finally, and this is the most critical one, is the burnout barrier. When you've been pushing past your limits for too long without real recovery, your mind and body start to hit the brakes for you. The feeling of being too tired to start isn't just in your head. It's a physiological response. That resistance you feel is your system protecting you from further overload. So if this is what's actually happening, then pushing harder isn't the answer, because you're not dealing with a discipline problem. You're dealing with an overloaded system. So if pushing harder is off the table, what's the answer? It's not about more hustle. It's less friction. It's about building a system that works with your brain's limits, not against it. So strategy 1, the 2-minute activation rule. The biggest hurdle for any task is getting started. The 2-minute rule is designed to make that initial step so easy you can't avoid it. The rule is simple. When you start a task, it has to take less than 2 minutes. So I apply this in my own life with a one and done philosophy. When an email lands in my inbox or a task lands on my desk, I deal with it right then and there if it takes less than 2 minutes. I don't want to carry it twice, once mentally and again when I come back to it later. By taking immediate action, I reduce the mental load before it builds. So this is how you apply it. Write a report becomes open the document and write one sentence. Go to the gym becomes put on your running shoes. The goal isn't to finish, it's to enter the task. Because once you've started, momentum has somewhere to build from. Strategy 2, the 10-minute execution block. For tasks that feel too big, commit to just 10 minutes. Set a timer. Focus on that one task. No switching, no distractions. You're not trying to produce something perfect. You're just removing the pressure to perform. And once that pressure drops, movement becomes easier. Often you'll keep going, but even if you don't, you've moved from 0 to something. If you're sitting there thinking, this is exactly what's been happening, then stay with me, because this is where it starts to shift. Strategy 3, structured prioritization with the Ivy Lee method. At the end of each workday, write down the 6 most important things you need to do tomorrow and rank them. The next day, you start with task number 1 and only move on once it's done. This removes one of the biggest drains on your system, deciding where to begin. You've already made the decision. So when you sit down, there's no friction. You just start. These strategies will get you moving, but for momentum to last, you need to address the root condition. Strategy 4, integrate deliberate recovery. If you're constantly on, your brain never resets. So when it's time to focus, there's nothing left to give. That's why structured work and breaks matter, not as a productivity trick, but as a way to protect your capacity. Strategy 5, embrace slow productivity. This is about doing fewer things at a better level. Instead of juggling everything, you focus on what actually matters. What looks like procrastination is often just mental drag from carrying too much at once. When you reduce what you're holding, your ability to move increases. This isn't about doing less for the sake of it. It's about doing the right things properly. So this is part of a series I'm building called The Hidden Foundations of Productivity. If this resonated with you, click on the playlist that appears at the end. That's where you can go deeper into this work. So what's the big takeaway? If you've been fighting a losing battle with procrastination, hear this clearly. You are not lazy. You are not undisciplined. You're a high performer whose system is overloaded. Your procrastination is a signal. The answer isn't to push harder. It's to change how you start. Most people try to fix procrastination with pressure, but what you actually need is a better entry point. So here's your challenge. Pick one thing you've been putting off, just one. Open it and spend 2 minutes on it. Not to finish it, just to enter it. That's how momentum begins, not with pressure, but with movement. Let me know in the comments what you're starting with your 2 minutes. Let's get some momentum going together. And remember, as you work through it, you matter.